Life as a Nazi soldier during World War II was a complex and often brutal experience, shaped by indoctrination, hardship, and violence. From the battlefields of Eastern Europe to the deserts of North Africa, German soldiers found themselves at the heart of a war machine that brought destruction on an unprecedented scale. But what was life really like for these soldiers? Men who fought under Hitler's regime? Many Nazi soldiers were products of indoctrination from an early age. Boys as young as 10 were often enrolled in Hitler Youth, where they were taught loyalty to the Führer, military skills, and the belief in Aryan supremacy. By the time they reached adulthood, many were conditioned to view war as an extension of their duty to the nation and to Hitler himself. Once enlisted, life in the Wehrmacht or SS meant grueling physical training and discipline. Soldiers lived in basic barracks, shared limited rations, and underwent strict daily routines. At the front lines, they faced hunger, exhaustion, and often freezing temperatures, especially on the Eastern Front, where winter conditions could be as deadly as enemy fire. In battle, Nazi soldiers faced unimaginable horrors. The Eastern Front, where Nazi Germany waged a war of annihilation against the Soviet Union, was particularly brutal. Soldiers were often pitted against overwhelming Soviet forces, fighting for survival in a harsh environment, while dealing with brutal orders from their superiors. When not engaged in combat, soldiers sought whatever respite they could find. They wrote letters home, played cards, and tried to find moments of normalcy amidst the chaos. But many lived under constant psychological strain, facing not only the dangers of combat, but also the ever-present threat of being caught in a web of Nazi politics, where disobedience or dissent could mean death. Yet many Nazi soldiers were also complicit in war crimes and atrocities. Under orders from the Nazi regime, they participated in the extermination of Jews, the murder of civilians, and the enforcement of brutal occupation policies across Europe. The Nazi ideology, built on racism and hatred, normalized these acts, making violence and cruelty an everyday part of the war. As the tide of war turned against Germany, life for Nazi soldiers became even more desperate. By 1944, with Allied forces closing in from all sides, morale collapsed. Many soldiers were either killed in battle, captured as prisoners of war, or tried to desert, a dangerous decision that often resulted in execution by their own commanders. The life of a Nazi soldier was not just one of blind obedience or duty, it was shaped by fear, violence, and ideology. Many were both victims and perpetrators of one of the darkest chapters in human history. And while some were indoctrinated, others made choices that would haunt them and the world forever.